Who's your emergency contact? Who should we notify in the case of death? Welcome to the USP. First of all, I just want to apologize for the last week. It's been hectic. I'm just trying to figure out how to best bring you the content that I have. I was trying to get a hold of the video of this riot that I was trying to share with you guys to finish out Atwater. But of course, I don't know how other people are able to get federal videos of incidents inside the prison. But obviously, I'm not that connected, so I wasn't able to do that. But for those of you that have been there with me in Atwater in 2015, I would welcome you to comment on it and share on the comment section what you remember and what you saw during that time. This is one of the craziest situations I've ever been in. So throughout this week, I'm just gonna give you bits and pieces of it, tease you a little bit. But at the end of the week, you're gonna get a full understanding of the reality that we live in. You're gonna get a better understanding of who I am, of my friend Bryson, and just what we've been through in the last 2+ decades. Now, I tell you these things for entertainment purposes, but at the end of the day, it's really to shock you in a way to where you don't want none of this shit. You don't want to live your life that's going to lead you into an environment that your safety, your security, your life is no longer yours. I've been grateful and fortunate and blessed that I survived this, but not too many people have. So without further ado, I'm just gonna take you right to it. It's Friday. And Atwater is hot. It's in the middle of the summer. It was like around June or July. As I told you, we just got into a riot with the GDs. So the COs came and chopped off the top of the table, thinking that they're gonna stop my poker table. But all they did was made it so where my business was booming even more, because now there's no tables to play on in yard 3. Like, you can go to yard 1 and open up a poker table, but yard 1 is right in front of the lieutenant's office and the administration's office. In yard 2, they have tables there, but every single table has a seat that's busted. So you might have 5 people that can sit down, but the other 2 or 3 got to stand up. So no one really opens a poker table over there. The best tables on the yard was in yard 3. Well, that is until the warden came and chopped off the top of the table. So all the top of the table in yard 3 is chopped off. Like I said, I went and got 2 paint boards, taped them up, brought out some toilet paper, put them on, the hands that extends from the middle of the pole. And I made a table. You have to crouch down a little bit to play cards. But most people that gamble, most people that play cards, they're degenerate gamblers. It's an addiction. So however they can get their fix, they're going to get it. So now I got a full table and I got people waiting in line to play. I got a couple white homies that are running the game for me. One of them, his name is Jason from Texas and Brazil from Oregon. Brazil lived in my block and Jason lived in 3B. These are good friends of mine. And they're running the game for me. I'm sitting next to the table next to them. Same thing. The homies went and got a board and they put, the thing over the thing so that the homies can play spade. But I'm just kicking back, doing my usual, smoking a little weed, a couple cigarettes, and just conversating with people that come through. Well, while I'm sitting there, where I'm sitting, I can watch my poker table. I'm not watching the poker table for any mischiefs or anything like that. It's just in my line of vision. And I'm just, and sometimes I'm entertained by how these guys play their hand and what the bets is, because sometimes it gets real crazy on the table with the bets and stuff. So yeah, I'm a little high, a little under the influence, and I'm kicking back, chopping it up with my homie, and I happen to watch the table. But past the table is the bocce court. And at the end of the bocce court, like I told you, the table is here, 3 tables here. There's a track that goes around the yard like that. There's 3 tables here, basketball court, 3 tables here. And on the other side of the basketball court is a volleyball court. And after that, it's a soccer field. I don't really know what's been going on the compound because, like I said, if it's not anything to do with me or mine, I don't pay it no mind. I don't get into people's business. I don't inquire. That's why when I'm on here and I mention certain people, I don't really know their name or their background because even though we were friends in the system that we met and we hung out, I'm just not the type of person to ask a lot of questions. And also, I'm not the type of person until now to share anything of myself. You know, so it's almost like an oxymoron. How can you be real close friends with someone and not really know anything about them? Well, inside the penitentiary, the only thing I care about is that you're not a sex offender, you're not a child molester, you're not a rat, you're not a thief, and a piece of shit. You know, everything else can be questionable. I don't care if you're a bully. I don't care if you're prone to violence or aggressive. It's just how you conduct yourself with me when we're interacting. Because every relationship is different. You might be respectful and courteous to me, but you might be over here punking some dude over here for whatever reason. As long as people deal straight with me when we interact, you know, we're good. But of course, I don't have a lot of friends in the penitentiary. I know everybody. I know a lot of people. But the people that I invite into my circle are people that I have a good understanding of their character. I could be totally wrong. They could be fronting the whole time. But to the best of my ability, I evaluate them and feel they're of character that I want to associate myself with or have associated with me. So, back to the table. I'm kicking back. I'm watching these guys play poker. But past the poker table, my vision goes to the soccer field. And I look, and I see a group of paisa pull up a string off the dirt. Now understand, everybody's got knives buried in the ground on the yard. Because, you know, every time we go move in and out of units, we're moving through metal detectors. So anytime anybody gets a chance to sneak a knife out the unit and bury it on the yard, they're going to do it. Every group has their secret place that they bury knives on the yard on. So, you know, every once in a while, the COs will come through with their metal detector and dig up the whole yard and find literally hundreds and hundreds of different weapons. So on this particular day, like I said, my field of vision expanded on beyond the poker table, and I seen a paisa pull up the string. And on the strings are knives tied to them. And I look, and there's like an assembly line where they're snapping the picks, that, you know, the knives off the string and handing it to their homies. So of course, I go into survival mode. You know, my spider senses clicked on. Like I said, at this particular time, I don't really know what the issue is. I don't know what's going on. I just know that these Mexicans are not going to expose their hiding places and pull out their knives if they don't have any intention to use it. So I tell the homies on the table, say, hey, kill the game, pack up the shit. They're like, huh, what's going on? I say, man, there's something going on. Pack it up. You know, because we don't want to be caught out in the yard when something jumps off, especially if it don't got nothing to do with us. And as far as I know at this time, it doesn't have anything to do with any Asian Islanders or natives. So if it doesn't have anything to do with those groups, with those people that are my homeboys that I have an alliance with, I'm not going to inquire. I'm just going to get the fuck out the way and have my homies get out the way. So now everybody's all like, what's going on? You know, they're like, you know, they pause, with their thing, like, why are you closing the table? And they look around and they saw what I saw. My vision expand. And the whole soccer field is packed with all the Mexicans. Later on, I did a head count. There was over 250 Mexicans on that soccer field. Like, oh, what's going on? I said, man, just pack up the shit. Pack it up. Now, as I'm saying this, these two white boys, Jake and D worked in, D's from Portland. He lived in my block, and Jake's from the west side. You know, goofy, funny white boy. And they're walking from the, you know, right out of the corner of the soccer field, there's a light pole. So they're walking over there towards it like, oh man, the fucking Pisces are tripping. Their Pisces are tripping. You know, they're saying it at my poker table because they came to relay the message to Brazil and Jason. Like, man, the Pisces are tripping, man. The Pisces are tripping. They're like, what's going on? He goes, man, me and D, this is Jake speaking. Me and D went over there. I guess they were over there trying to dig out their knives. And when they were trying to dig out their knives, the Pisces surrounded them and took their shit. You know, they're outnumbered. It was just two of them and a whole slew of Pisces. I don't know exactly how many people surrounded, but they took their dude's knives. They're like, man, they say they're tripping. And then we all stopped, turned around, and looked. Now, at this time, they had just called recall off the yard to go back in for lunch. When they call recall to go back in for lunch, you have a choice to come back out, to come to the yard and skip lunch and just stay on the yard while the prison is eating. So when they did call the west side move, oh no, they just called the east side move. When they called the east side move, it seemed like every Mexican, every Paisa, border brother, Sereno, if you're from Latin America, your ass was out there on the yard. And I looked, and it was just all Paisas and Mexicans, just Mexicans on the soccer field. Like I said, I did a head count later on before the shit jumped off. There was over 250 of them on the soccer field. And there was no blacks. There was no other race. I looked out. All the blacks had exited the yard. Because, you know, before something jumps off, there's always rumors and stuff. And people have spider senses where they can get a feeling of the energy that's going on in the compound. And if it ain't got nothing to do with them, they get the fuck out the way. And I looked, I'm like, damn, what the fuck? Right? I say, hey, man, hurry up, pack that shit up. Pack that shit up. So Jake and D is telling Brazil and Jason, hey, man, the Pisces are tripping. Man, somebody go talk to them. Somebody go talk to them. So Jason and Brazil, the Pisces are on the soccer field, all grouped up. The shot caller for the yard for the Pisces, his name is Garcia. So Jason and Brazil walked over there to go talk to Garcia to see what the situation was, see if whatever's going on can be remedied. When they went over there, we're waiting. You know, we're just at our table, we're waiting. When they went over there, they turned right around. They weren't there for 10 seconds. They turned right around, came back, they're like, hey man, they said there's nothing to talk about. It's going down. Everybody get your back on the fence. He's talking to the white boys. He said, everybody get your back up on the fence. So all the white boys got up and they went to the fence. And I got up, packed all my poker shit, put it on the fence, told my homeboys, there's about, between us and the natives, there's maybe 13, 14 of us, you know? So the homies come and ask me, hey man, what's going on? What are we doing? I said, shit, they ain't got nothing to do with us. Get your ass on the fence. So all the yards are a square. It's 3 squares. We're in the 3rd yard. The fence is right here between yard 2 and 3. There's a door right here that's open because they just called a move. The white boys could have slipped through that door and headed out, but they didn't. They didn't run. They went and put their back on the fence, on this fence right here. Then on this fence, on this side, I lined up all my homeboys. I said, hey man, get your back up to the fence. This ain't got nothing to do with us. I said, what's going? I said, there's something going on with the Bices and the white boys. So while I'm on the fence, my homeboy Mujai from New York, he's from Flying Dragon out of New York, the little guy that I shared with you that was stomping out Junebug when he got knocked out by the homies. He comes over and says, hey, you better go talk to Rodney. I said, about what? And Rodney said he's standing with his cousin. This is Rodney Joseph from Hawaii. He's known out there in Hawaii as the Hammer. He used to be a pro boxer until he ended up running, and then ended up running all the gambling houses for the Chinese. But while he was running the gambling houses, they had 3 Samoans that came out of prison that wanted a piece of the action. You know, they had days split where they oversee the game, and then these 3 other Soles, Samoans, would oversee the game. But the Soles, you know, they're big. They're kind of like, you know, on the bullying time, and they wanted to get another extra day or more days to run the game than what they had. So Rodney Joseph and his cousin told him, hey, go meet me at the golf course and we'll discuss it. Anyway, baby, Sophie's eating shit. Anyway, sorry, my dog's eating poop. Babe,
What?
Sophie's eating shit.
What the hell?
Anyway, back to the story. Sorry about that.
What do you mean she's eating shit?
She just ate the shit right there. She picked. Where is she? Get her. Sorry. So back to the story. They tell the Soles, hey, meet me at the golf course and we'll discuss it. So when all 3 of them, when they all showed up, Rodney Joseph domed them. Pop, pop, pop. Killed them. Or so he thought. And they left. Well, one of them didn't immediately die. He crawled onto the golf course. One of the golf employees at the resort or wherever they were at, seen him through the window and ran down there. And when they ran down there, that Samoan dude that just got shot, he rolled over on his back and he said, Rodney Joseph shot me and died. Like, that's like when you kill somebody or when you're killing somebody and they write your name with their blood on the wall and die, like, you can't dispute that evidence. So that's how Rodney and his cousin ended up in with 3 life sentences in the feds. So my homeboy Mujai tells me, hey, you gotta go talk to Rodney. I said, for what? He said he's riding with his cousin. Now Rodney, he's Portuguese from Hawaii. Grew up in Hawaii all his lives. They have generations of his family that lived in Hawaii. So in every aspect, he's Hawaiian. Well, his cousin, his name is Blaster. He just came on the yard a few days ago. But his cousin grew up out here in California and been to the state joint and was on white boy time. So when he came to Atwater, he stayed on white boy time because he's not one of them dudes that's getting to switch up, even though his older cousin Rodney is there. So he happened to be out in the yard that day. So Mujai said, yeah, Rodney said he's standing with his cousin. You know, I'm on the fence. So I walk back down to my table where Rodney and some of the white boys are standing watching the freaking sea of Bices. And I walk down there, say, what's up, bro? I said, what you doing? So I'm gonna stand with my cousin, bro. You know, I pause for a little bit. I look out into the field. There's a lot of Mexicans, right? A lot. I said, you sure, bro? He said, yeah. I'm staying with my cousin. I said, all right. So I walked back up. I left them at the table. I walked back up the track. and up to my corner. And as I'm walking up, the homie Bryson Pose comes through. Say, hey, what's up, bro? What we doing, bro? I said, Rodney's saying he's staying with his cousin. All right, bro, all right. And he burns off, you know. So for me, I live by the code. When one go, we all go. So at this time, the choices was taken away from me. Not that I care one way or the other. The homie said he's gonna ride with his cousin. So I'm not the type of person that's gonna stand there and wait for him to get butchered or watch him get butchered. So in my mind is, okay, I'm not gonna wait until he gets into a confrontation and decide to jump in or not. My mind's made up. If the homie's getting into it, I'm getting into it. You know, but I didn't really think anything through. It was just my automatic response in everything that I do. I live by a certain code. When certain things happen, it's demanding a certain reaction. And one of the things that we emphasize in there, when one go, we all go. So I'm standing in the corner of the yard on the track. I come back down a little further to the table because I want to force, because I'm not the one they're beefing with. So when the bison starts coming, I want to force them to go through the tables to get to the white boys, because the white boys lined up on the fence behind the table. And anyway, I counted out the white boys. There were 17 of them. There were 17 white boys on the yard and 250 Mexicans. Paisas, Serranos, Mexicans from Arizona, Mexicans from New Mexico, unaffiliated, whatever. When it comes to the Mexican car, when it's a racial thing, regardless of how they feel about each other, regardless of how many gangs or different groups or different people from different regions of the country they all are coming together. It's mandatory. If any of them don't, once the smoke clear, they're getting chopped up. So they're out there. 17 white boys, 250 plus Mexicans. And then between me and my homies, there's about 14, 15 of us. We're all lined up on the fence on the east side. The white boys are lined up on the fence between yard 2 and yard 3. You know, thinking back now, after we came off the lockdown, what I remember of the scenery, the environment at the time, was nothing like the reality. You know, I can't really explain why it's that way, but it seemed like at the time, because you got the yard, the table, you got grass and dirt, then you got the track, then you got the fence. When I was standing on the track, it almost felt like I was on a hill, looking down at a host of people. If you guys ever seen the movie Braveheart, like, I'm not putting any extras on it. Like, people that's been in Atwater with me can comment on it and tell you and verify with you and stamp what I'm about to share with you. They're all grouped up. And then I see they start leaking out. You know, a few of them start leaking out. They're coming out this way. The Serranos are on the north end, towards the west side. You know, they're coming around like this, all around like this towards the white boys. The Serranos come out this way. Some of the Paisas come out this way towards the track. And the other ones are coming down the middle. And time seemed to like slow down. I'm watching. And all I hear in my head was, stay away from the tip. Stay away from the tip. Because every single one of them that was coming towards us had knives. And it's a sunny day. It's hot. And it's, you know, as I remember it, they're all holding their knives like this. You know, they're holding it like this. The point is out this way. And they're walking towards us. But they weren't running towards us. They were just walking towards us. Like just the anticipation was excruciating. Like they were like, in a sense, torturing the white boys. Like, yeah, we're coming to get you. There's nowhere to go. You're boxed in. I remember looking up at the gun tower. And they even opened the window. Like I said, they're all coming at me. Every one of them holding knives. And in my mind was just stay away from the tip, because the sun was catching the blades and it was like sparkling. You know, it emphasized. And like I said, I don't know how to explain why at that time my vision was like I was on a hill looking down at them and they were creeping up slowly to me. They started walking towards me. My mindset was stand by the table and force the fighters to go through the table to get to the white boys. But they kept expanding further and further out their wing. And I had to back up. I backed up on the track. Then I backed up all the way to the fence because I didn't want to be in the middle of the herd when they came through. And I'm watching. I see Bryson. He walked down the track with a few of the homies, with a couple of natives, a couple other homies. They're down the track by the pole. And these guys are coming towards me. But like I said, they're not running. They're not rushing me. They're just walking slow. But I'm not the target. The target is the white dudes. So they're not really paying me no mind. I'm just around the side. But in my mind, it's like this. The homie say he's standing with his cousin. There's nothing else to discuss because I'm not going to watch my homie get butchered. You know, I'm the one, if we're homies, if it needs be, I'm not proud of it. It's not to try to say that I'm tough or I have extra courage or anything. That's just the mentality that I have. If it needs be, we're going to die together because I'm not going to sit there and watch you die. Watch you get butchered. We're going to get butchered together. So as the fighters come, get closer. As soon as one of them was in reaching distance, I launch. Welcome to the USP. Catch me next time for the second episode.